talk a little bit about, once you actually have a good landing page, how to convert that to actual transactions. So one of the things that people always talk about is, Facebook advertising. And it's so easy to run Facebook advertising, and yet where most people blow it in their Facebook advertising is that when they go from an ad to a landing page, there's no connection. They drive them to a generic website or a generic page that now confuses people. So this is an interesting ad that B. Powell runs. And B is a very successful agent in DeLand, Florida. Now, B is an interesting story in that she immigrated from Australia to Florida. And when she got to Florida, she knew absolutely nobody. She's sort of, the classic immigrant story. She wanted to come to America. Now, got here, thought, well, what's the opportunity to get into real estate? And started selling real estate, but she literally knew nobody. So she picked a farm and she consistently farmed this area. As social media started to come out, she started to do some things. Now, she advertises not to everybody, but only to about 2,000 homes that she actually markets to consistently. So she's basically targeting her prospects. I mean, the people that she's farming. And this is important to understand because so many people start doing what I call general prospecting with Facebook advertising, and if that's the only way they see you, making it work is really, really hard. I really believe that Facebook advertising is really great for advertising to your past clients and sphere of influence, and I think every agent should have a plan so that their past clients and sphere of influence are seeing them on Facebook very consistently. And usually that's not a huge group of people, so it's not super expensive. And then in your farm area, I think you should target them as well. Those should be the targets for Facebook advertising. So B is targeting her farm area. These people that are seeing her, and she's been doing a direct mail program there for probably 10 years, where she mails them twice a month. And now, she does this program, her name is B. Powell, so she's always played off of the B. And what's the buzz about B. Powell? If you're thinking about buying or selling a home or the land, find out if Realtor B. Powell is the right real estate professional for you. So people already that are seeing this ad already have been exposed to her name, her basic concept. Now when you click on this ad, this is the landing page it goes to. And notice that there's a look and feel consistency.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is so important, and I can't seem to stress this enough. If when I click on your ad, you take me to a landing page that looks and feels dramatically different than the ad, I've got to reorient myself as a consumer. Where am I? What is this about? The more consistency you have in look and feel, the better chance you have of actually drawing people in. Now she tells a little story, and we talked about the value of telling a story instead of just having facts. I approach things differently than most agents. This works primarily because people already have a little bit of idea of who she is. She's got some connection, and now basically what she offers them, hey, if you want to find out if I'm the right realtor for you, ask for a copy of my personal brochure. Notice it's not, if I'm the right realtor for you, call me for an appointment. Call me for a consultation. So I have a question. Do you think it's easier for people to call and ask for a copy of a brochure or a special report or some other thing versus it is to actually set up a meeting?
Sure.
And this is what I call that dating step. It's like, let's have coffee. Make it easy and non-threatening. And when you're creating this landing page, what you always want to do is say, what's the easiest next step that I can get people to take? And you'll get a lot more conversions that way. If you try and take a massive step from, here's who I am to sign this contract, it's much, much harder. So think about the things you can offer.
Is that the call to action you're
Yeah.
referring to? So the call to action has to be super easy, like next.
The easier it is, the better response you're going to get, the more leads you're going to generate. This is where if you start getting into the debate of people between direct response, branding, everything else, some of the hardcore direct response advocates would say, no, you want to have a landing page that really sells them and takes them all the way to make the sale, and you're going to get less responses, but they're going to be more qualified. So there is a balance between this. There's always different perspectives. I found that for people that are in your farm area or sphere of influence, people who already know you, the easier you make it, the more leads you're going to get. And your real goal is to get the lead that you can nurture and follow up on. And if you approach it that way, it tends to work incredibly well. So she sends out a copy of a personal brochure and then follows up very consistently from that perspective. And we've seen this work very effectively for agents that are farming an area and now telling a story. Jenny Slater has done the same thing in the Washington, D.C. area. In a very competitive upscale marketplace, she has found that her personal brochure gets her great ongoing business lead generation. So she's making a very simple, easy step. Another thing that works very well is things like special reports or very useful information. So here's an ad for Christine Crockett, 29 essential tips to get home sold fast and for top dollar, or how to sell your home for the highest price possible. Now, when you click on one of her ads, she takes you to a landing page, how to sell your home for the highest price possible, and she tells you a little story. You see for sale signs every day as you drive past the home. Months go by. Months maybe might go by. There's a typo there. And you keep watching for a sold sign, but it never seems to appear. Across the street, another home goes on the market. Within weeks, a bright red sold sign appears. Meanwhile, back across the street, there's still no change. You wonder what's the difference. This is a great little story for somebody who's thinking about selling their home. There's two homes in my neighborhood. One sells quickly, one doesn't. What's that difference? And it tells a little story in this process that works very well. And then she's basically selling you on getting a copy of her special report. If you have an interest in selling your home in the next 6 months to a year, there's an excellent chance you're going to say, yeah, send me this special report. And we talked about Christine's doing this. She's looking for a name and an address versus a name and a phone number or a name and an email address, because she physically finds that she physically sends them her reports. They do much better.
Does she find that it's easier to get the address over the other stuff?
She does. So she's done it all different ways. She's asked for names and emails and emailed them the special report. And she finds that when she physically emails them a special report, she converts about 1 in 50 leads that she generates. When she physically mails the special report, she converts about 1 in 5. So 10 times better response by physically mailing it than emailing it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, because it seems to me like the address is the easiest thing to get.
It's much less threatening to people. It's like we're willing to give our address. And she says, she's up in Canada, And they definitely have stronger privacy laws in Canada, and so they're even more reluctant to give you their name and their phone number and email address than they are here. But I've seen this over and over again the same way. People will give you things that they perceive, it's like, oh, it's non-threatening to me. They can't call and bother me, and now you can build a relationship with them. Now, this also works well for farming with your listings. And remember that if you even have somebody else's listing, you can still do this. So Peggy Lucas farms an area in Birmingham, Alabama. And every time she takes a listing, she targets her farm area, her sphere of influence, and she's always also targeting every seller that she works with. So it says, I'll take a video tour of Peggy's listing on Pinehurst Drive in Woodstock. Now, she targets this area and her farm area, and on the landing page, it takes you to just a page with a video where she gives you a little video home tour of that particular listing. It doesn't take you directly to the MLS. Now, why do you think it's better for her to drive you to a landing page of that particular listing than it is to drive you to the MLS page?
Well, it's personalized.
Yeah, it's personalized, it makes you concentrate on one thing, and other sellers see that and go, oh, she's really concentrating on that one house, I bet she'll do that for me too.
There's no searching that has to go on, or any clicking, or it's just there in your face, one click.
And then she gives you the basic details of the house and says, oh, by the way, if you want a private tour, call me. Now, because this landing page is basically set up, once this property sells, what do you suppose she does with the landing page?
Gives a detailed sale.
She says,
Just
she basically says, recently sold.
Oh.
And she sends it back out to people, and it's like, it's one of those things that's like, it works for listings, sales, it's so incredibly effective. And to me, it's like, if you start having a variety of landing pages that you can drop on people on a consistent basis, at some point in time, you just get people to say, oh, I want to take that next step. I want to, engage in some different way. Again, here she's offering her personal brochure as her offer. Here she's offering her buyer's questionnaire. And this has been a very successful page for her. It's great to buy a home if you understand the local real estate market and you make educated decisions. And basically, it says, listen, if you really want to make the best buying decision, you can't just go out and look at houses. And the best way to do that is to fill out Peggy's home buyer's questionnaire. And she shows a copy of the questionnaire. It looks nice, it looks professional. And again, notice that it's primarily going for a mailing address. So, mailing addresses, you can send you the buyer's questionnaire, and those tend to work very well. Then she always has this questions, comments, how can I help you? And I found that those are so good in getting people to engage and ask questions that they normally wouldn't ask. Or if you put in things on your landing page like, when are you thinking about buying? 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now. All of those actually, the research shows they reduce response rates because people feel like, oh, this is just a
Prospecting.
sales pitch.
Wow.
So to me, it's like, don't do anything that makes it look overtly like you're really trying to sell. The less like a salesperson you sound, the better off a response you're going to actually get from your landing page. So Priscilla Rodriguez does, want to buy a home. Selecting the right realtor, right agent is critical. Learning Priscilla Rodriguez is the agent for you. So it's like, you're asking a question that sort of has obvious answers, And now she takes you to this landing page, and I think video landing pages are some of the most effective landing pages where people can actually see you. And basically it says, oh, here's the things you should be looking for in a realtor. And Priscilla is talking about what you should be looking for in a realtor, not just her. And at the end, she basically offers you a special report, how to select a realtor that's right for you. And because you see Priscilla, you feel a relationship and a connection. You think, oh, well, she can help me make a good decision. Now, she really doesn't sell you on doing business with her. She's saying, you really need to select the right realtor. Now, when you get her special report package, it does a very effective job at actually selling her. But the offer she makes and the video she creates is not overly salesy. It's, here's why this is so important to make a good decision. And when you offer information that's useful and valuable, your landing pages tend to get much better response. And then think about how to engage people well. So here's an old ad of Robbins, and this is, I think, from back in 2014. And it says, Open House Sunday, January 19th. Robin is holding a football open house. Now, if you're familiar with football, this is 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. So what's always 2 weeks before the Super Bowl in football? Not football fanatics here. So that's the divisional playoffs
I said playoffs.
to figure out who's going to go to the Super Bowl. So there's 4 teams left. So this is a big football weekend, and of course, Robin being into football, you're invited to an open house, and basically, it tells a story. It says, now, we're going to hold this open house from 1 to 5, and oh, by the way, we're going to be showing the game on the giant screen TV in the big family room. So it tells a story. It's like, oh, I can get to the game, I can have some food, I can have some entertainment, all this thing. And it says, pre-register for Robin's open house. And it says, yes, I will be attending Robin's open house, and by entering my name and email address below, I am requesting a copy of Robin's special report. And in her little story about the open house, she says, oh, by the way, here's a special report about, and I don't remember exactly what special report she offered in this one, but it makes a little compelling story. Oh, and if you'd like to pre-register and get a copy of it, she'll have a copy of it there for you for free when you show up. But then notice it says, I cannot attend, but would like to be entered into Robin's drawing for a copy of her $99 special report. So if you pre-register, you'll get a copy for free just by pre-registering. But if you can't make it, well, gosh, you can get entered in this drawing. Now, this is an interesting psychological thing to think about. We tried this both ways.
It's a trick question, kind of. She gets what she wants either with either answer.
So whether you come to the open house or not, she's trying to get you to give her information. But when we started this, we thought, well, it said I cannot attend, but I'd still like a copy of the special report. And we got much less responses when we just offered to give them a copy of the special report than when we say we enter you to a drawing
Really?
for the special report.
So the drawing didn't work.
The drawing does, but just giving it away doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you better response this way.
Yes.
Oh, I see. I misunderstood.
So why do you think that is?
The drawing.
Because somehow that's part of our,
Values.
it's like, oh, I'm in a drawing, I'll enter a drawing, much easier. And then first name, last names. Now, then it says, for everyone who has registered, Robin will send you an email reminder and a map.
What was that again?
It
Send
says,
you an email reminder and a map.
But then right below it, it says, I would prefer to receive a text message with map and reminder of the open house. And to get a text message, what do you have to give them?
What
Then it
map,
says, so enter the phone number below.
what map is she giving?
Of the open house.
A map of the open house?
Google map.
Just of the open house location?
Yeah.
Got
What up, Mike?
That's, so they can get
it.
there.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'll give you
But notice, by saying, oh, would you like a text reminder and a text map of the location of the open house, people say, oh yeah, that's convenient, that's good, I'm gonna give them. And what do they give you?
Their phone number.
Their phone number, and they never think, oh, I'm giving my phone number. If you just ask for the phone number, you'll get a whole lot less responses.
If you ask for a text reminder, that's brilliant.
So to me, it's like, I always think, how do I make, even if I want to get a phone number, how do I make it non-threatening to people? How do I make it sound like something I want? So I found that if you want a phone number, offer to send a text, and you'll get much better response. It's, to me, absolutely amazing. So people have an option here with this. They can just give a name and an email address. They give a name and email and a phone number. And they all are doing it in a non-threatening way. Then it says, oh, if you enter your mailing address, if you enter your mailing address below, Robin will send you her monthly real estate report about local real estate trends. Now, notice that what she's doing here is pre-qualifying people. And you can enter this just with your name and an email address. Oh, and to get a text message with a map, put your phone number. Oh, and if you'd like information about real estate, put your address. Now, who's probably the most interested person? Somebody that's just going to give you a name and an email address, or somebody that's going to give you their name, email, phone number, and address?
That one.
So basically, how much information they gave you qualifies your lead. And yet, what I found is that if you force to give you everything that you want, you'll get a whole lot less leads. So think about how to get the C leads, the B leads, and the A leads all in the same offer. Don't try and overreach for everything. And if you don't have a logical way of doing that, just make it simple and easy. But these work very well. I found these also work great doing email invitations to all your sphere of influence on a regular basis about the open houses you're doing. They feel like you're doing a great job. Even something as simple as a instant online home value. It's better to create a landing page that gets people to be involved. So here, Mr. Omaha is saying, click here to instantly learn the value of any home in Omaha. Now, who do you think he's targeting with this particular landing page?
Sellers.
Read it again. Click here to instantly learn the value of any home in Omaha.
Sellers in Omaha.
Neighbors seeing,
Homeowners.
homeowners seeing people moving there.
See, this is we as agents get locked into this.
We do this every week.
He's targeting buyers. And he sends out a little note that says, hey, listen, when you're thinking about buying a home, if you see anything, go here and find out what it's really worth. And now, as they're going through Zillow, they're looking at Zestimate, but he says, this is probably a little bit more accurate than Zillow. And he can see them now going and checking out homes, which, they're thinking about buying. We tend to think about home values only in terms of selling leads. But remember that anybody can fill these out. So if you're talking to a buyer and say, oh, listen, let me send you a link, every time you see a house that you see, go there and check it out, see what it's worth. And if you have any questions, I can give you any more direct feedback.
But how does he do that, Greg? Because he's not linking them to Zillow, obviously.
He's linking them back to his company's free market valuations like the one you have with First Team. So when you click on this, it just goes to the page where you put in the address.
Okay. But
again,
don't we use Zillow? Doesn't our company use Zillow?
I don't know what First Team uses on their websites. I don't think it's Zillow,
Okay.
because their ad would be false then,
Okay.
because they say they're more accurate than Zillow, Redfin, and something else. So I'm pretty sure they're not using Zillow. But there's a jillion of these instant online.
Evaluators.
So, and then he does a separate landing page for his core target marketplace. His farm is the Ridges community. So for the Ridges community, it says, welcome to the Ridges online home values. Click here instantly to learn the value of any home in the Ridges community. Now, he gets a lot more clicks on this for people in the Ridges when it says the Ridges. Why do you think people click on it if they're in the Ridges more than if it says learn the value of any home in Omaha or any home in the United States? And why they like his better than Zillow?
Ask again. What was the question? Why do you think?
Why does Mr. Omaha get more clicks on his Ridges community home value page than a home value page that says you can get the home value of anything in the United States or anything in Omaha?
It's too broad.
Yeah, personalized, sort of.
There's nobody that's really looking in that part of the market, but there's a lot of people probably looking at just that neighborhood.
And somehow, psychologically, people in the Ridges think, oh, this must be for me. I'm in the Ridges, it's mine. Now, if you think about this logically, landing pages are cheap and easy to create. You should have a landing page for every community that you want to farm, target, and think about it. And they're all using the same technology to actually create the home value.
Greg, is this something that KP Core does for us?
KV
Yes.
Core lets you create
Yes.
unlimited landing pages.
Yes.
So you can create landing pages for all kinds of different things in KV Core. So a buyer's version of home values, a seller's version, a particular community. The other thing is in KV Core, you can do a search through IDX and say, see all the homes in Aliso Viejo in this price range, or see all the homes in create pre-selected searches of things that people are likely to be searching for.
Quick question: when they run the Facebook ad, they're probably boosting this ad. Is that not?
Well-
Do they boost it for that geographic area?
They should.
So
How does that work?
again, this is where people get confused between, I personally am not a big fan of boosting.
Okay.
So remember that in Facebook, the best thing for you to do is take your farm area, and if you have their addresses, you can upload that list to Facebook, and they'll actually create a custom audience for you.
I didn't even know they could do that.
You take to me, this is where you also take your sphere of influence, and if you have their email addresses, you can upload them, and they'll go and say, anybody that's got an email address that matches this on Facebook, we'll let you advertise to those people through Facebook. So your past clients on sphere of influence, this is, to me, every agent should be in front of their past clients and sphere of influence on Facebook every month. Because it makes them feel like, oh, my agent is always advertising. I see them all the time. So if you have 200 or 300 people in your past clients, for $50 a month, they can see your ads on Facebook all the time. To me, it's like, I'm always shocked that agents don't do that.
And an ad, would you recommend would be a video like this?
A video, for past clients and sphere of influence, it can be almost anything. It can be an update, it can be information about the area, about what you're doing, because they just like seeing you. It's like, oh, that's my agent.
Or is that the video?
Yeah. And think about what messages you'd like to get to your past clients. So, how many of you would love your past clients to see that you're an award-winning realtor?
Yeah.
So win an award.
That's true.
And there's always a way, how do I win an award? Well, here's how you win an award.
The Oscar, yeah, like Hollywood gives themselves awards all the time. It's called the Oscars.
You go buy yourself a little trophy, and you come into my office,
With the
and I'll be
video?
happy to give you a video of you getting an award.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, week one, you can win an award.
That's wonderful.
Genius.
So just get creative and think, gosh, how do I get my people to see that I'm out there active? It can be just listed, just sold, awards, things that are anything out there.
You know what, Craig? That's brilliant because I gotta tell you what happened to me early this morning. I'm on Instagram, right? And I see one of my girlfriends who's in the entertainment industry. She's standing on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and she's holding an Oscar. And I'm like, how did she pull that off? But it made me read the whole thing about her, and what it was is she was doing a commercial for the city of Hollywood to show the world how much fun people have in Hollywood. And so they were doing like this mock, like, and you too could get this Oscar, and she was the person they hired to be the actress, but it made me read it.
I mean, to me, those are, anything that's, unfortunately, this is where we get locked into being realtors. We think about real estate too much instead of how do I just engage people. So, this is an interesting Facebook ad for a broker that is actually trying to recruit. And this is a guy named David Lucas. He's the husband of Peggy Lucas, but he used to be a SWAT officer. And now he's a real estate broker. And realtors need a new MO, want to be part of an elite office, read this. And basically, it says, I approach the different things different than most brokers. I believe that every agent is first and foremost a one-of-a-kind human being with their own personal values, goals, and objectives. That's why I approach things differently than most brokers. We do not have a one-size-fits-all training program or believe that there's only one correct way to build a successful real estate business. As a broker, I believe that I work for agents, that I've developed an agent-centric approach to building a real estate company. If this sounds like something you would be interested in finding out about, please take and click on the link below. I will send you a copy of a brochure that outlines this agent-centric philosophy. The brochure will also give you some important background information about my philosophy of real estate and my personal values. I know that reading my brochure will help you decide whether I'm a person you would benefit from working with and helping you build a real estate career. In my experience, I found that a great broker-agent relationships comes with when the goals of the company and the agent have enough overlap that they're moving synergistically in the same direction. This only comes when we both take the risk to open up and share who we are and what we want to do at a very deep level. I will make the first move. In my brochure, I will share who I am and what my values are and my hopes and dreams for the future as well as my fears. After reading my brochure, you can decide if you'd like to take the risk to open up and explore your life at a deeper level. I will not ask you for your phone number unless you call and set up a meeting for us to talk about who you are and your vision for life. If you march to a beat of your own drum, you owe it to yourself to see if this is a good fit for you. I'm committed to protecting and serving the agents who I work for. It is the path less traveled, but as a path to living your best life. So if you were an agent, you saw that little ad for a broker, would you be just curious enough to say, I want to get a copy of his brochure to read his values? And he's been very successful at this. Here he's targeting people trying to get into real estate. It says an easy way to start your own business. And it just tells a little story. It doesn't even mention real estate, but it gets people to engage. Now here's the key. Once you've gotten people to go to your landing page and give you their contact information, you must have a great conversion strategy. And over and over again, the research shows the best conversion rates are when you use a combination of physical mail and mail. So Disney is one of the greatest online marketers on the planet. Disney vacations, Disney cruises are incredibly effective at what they do. Now, I don't know if anybody has ever seen some of the ads, some of the different marketing that they do for Adventures by Disney or Disney Cruises or all different things. But one of their landing pages, they came at the end of the story about having a great, incredible family vacation, and it says, Adventures by Disney brochure now available. Now, think about the wording there. Does it sound like it's new and fresh just because it's now available? It's like, this is newer and so on. So it asks for my name, my mailing address, now, and my email address. No phone number, just name and physical address. And then it says at the bottom, order brochure. So you give your name and address, order brochure, and then it says, thanks for ordering the Adventures by Disney brochure. By the way, we now have it available online. You can view it instantly. Now, why did they go through all that work to get my name and mailing address?
So what did they accomplish by giving it to them now?
And they will tell you that 1 out of 10,000 people, when they open it up online, will book a vacation right then and there.
What was the number?
1 out of 10,000. But for everybody else, there's 9,999 people that aren't going to book instantly. And so you could open up online, but now they follow up with you. Now, it's interesting, they send you this brochure and you can see it online, but it's not really a brochure, it's actually a 98-page booklet. It feels more like a magazine, but it's beautiful and it talks about all these incredible adventures and vacations. And it's an interesting study in marketing in that it talks about all these destinations, and it also has 10 interesting stories about families getting closer together because they went on a vacation. Now it's parents having trouble connecting with their 17-year-old daughter. And they took her on a European vacation for 2 weeks to Disney Paris, saw Paris and everything else, and it's like how their relationship improved. So what are they really selling here?
Family togetherness.
It is family togetherness over and over and over again. Now, you see this brochure online, and 3 weeks later, I physically got this magazine in the mail. Now, I'm sure it cost them $5, $6 to send that thing to me. And now, once you fill out something, they drip on you continuously with a series of emails and physical mail. They sent me a CD-ROM with incredible vacation images, different things. And then they just keep dripping on you. And they keep sending you more CDs, more engagement. And they keep telling you these stories about mom knows best, about how their relationship with their kids has improved. And they keep sending out this things. Now, what I found was interesting. Every 3 months, they send you the same magazine again. Now I was really intrigued by this because I'd never had anybody follow up as well as Disney did. So I started researching their success rate, and they are unbelievably successful at online sales. In fact, I did this research in 2015. In 2015, they sold over $6.3 billion worth of online vacations. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I actually finally tracked down the advertising agency that's executing this, and Disney has an 18-month follow-up plan. And they send you something by email every 2 weeks, and they mail you something once a month for 18 months. Now, in talking to them, what do you think the average length between filling out a request for a brochure and actually booking a vacation actually is?
A year.
It's almost 13 months.
I've got something right.
It's just, and if they didn't follow up, they let all that money slip away. And this is one of the things I stress with agents all the time is that we get in this mindset, oh, I met them at open house, we had a couple of good conversations, then they didn't return my phone call, this happened. You just keep following up religiously, learn from Disney. They keep dripping on you. They keep sending you the same stuff over and over and over again. What Disney has found is people get this, and when they first get that initial thing, a lot of people are intrigued, and then they look at the pricing. And are Disney vacations cheap? They are shockingly expensive. And they say, oh, I can't afford this.
So you start planning.
So we get you over to Disney financing.
They don't have Disney financing, but they keep dripping on you. They keep telling you stories about how families get brought together, and suddenly you have a challenge with one of your kids. And suddenly you think, well, gosh, maybe that Disney vacation would bring us closer together. And they found that they send you this wonderful magazine about Disney vacations. When you first get it, you share it with your spouse, your kids. You talk about it, well, we'd love to go, we can't afford it. You throw it away. Suddenly it shows up 3 months later,
Now it's seeming real.
and it's like, oh, your spouse, he says, I thought we couldn't afford that. Well, yeah, they sent us another one. It's like, well, so you go through this all again, you keep reliving, talking about it, and they keep bringing it up. They keep sending you those little emails talking about, the relationship improvements with your kids, the different things out there. And man, they just start dripping on you. And sure enough, 6 months later, you're thinking, well, maybe we could afford it. Well, if we save, maybe next year. And they just keep planting the seeds. And 13 months later, you say, you know what, let's go on that Disney vacation.
Let's earmark the tax refund for this vacation instead of putting a new roof on the house.
And so to me, it's like, you want to do the same thing as an agent. You need to have a follow-up program that just drips on people. So, Isla Lamb is a very interesting agent up in Calgary, Canada. And when I met Isla, she had been in real estate for 35 years and did reasonably well her entire career. She had been a steady farmer, and she had a medium-range farm that she had done incredibly well with and generated business with because she'd just been there for a long, long time. When I met her, she said, Greg, I'm burnt out in real estate. I'm thinking about retiring. I just hate it. So what do you hate about real estate? She said, I hate the houses I sell. I said, well, why do you hate them? She said, well, you know, when I was a young woman, I went to college, got my degree in interior design, and I worked for 2 years as an interior designer. She says, I was really an apprentice for a top interior designer here for those 2 years, but I absolutely loved it. Then I got pregnant, got married, and was a stay-at-home mom for a while. I thought, well, you know, I'm out of touch with interior design. Let me get into real estate. And she says, I did reasonably well at it. Made me a good living, gave me flexibility. But she says, my passion has always been interior design. I said, well, why don't you specialize in homes that have great interior design? She said, Greg, I've been doing this too long. I'm stuck in this. You can walk away, sell your business that you have in your farm area. I'm sure you get an agent to take it over and specialize in. She said, well, you know, we're in Calgary, Canada. There's not that many homes with great interior design. I said, well, you know. I said, I'm sure you can find there are reasons to not do anything. Oh. She said, well, how would I even find that home's great interior design? I said, well, I don't know for sure, but I know that you can buy the subscription list for any magazine. Why don't you buy the subscription for everybody that subscribes to Architectural Digest in Calgary, in the greater area? And she bought a list of 3,800 people that subscribe to Architectural Digest in that area. I said, you know, that's probably a pretty good list of people that like interior design. They're already inclined to do that. And she started farming those 3,800 people. And her business literally skyrocketed. They are also the top 1% in home prices, in value. And she says, Greg, I love it now because I'm working with people that I like and sell homes that are unique and special. And she does a variety of different things. And when people respond, she has a great follow-up program. So she first sends her brochure talking about why she loves interior design, loves selling unique homes. And then we talked about an 8x8. She does this 8x8, so once a week for 8 weeks, they get something from her. Whether it's a card, a letter, a follow-up to something, so that they just keep seeing her. And her slogan is design your future. And she talks about why she loves interior design and designing a life really that people love living in. And she drips on them consistently once a week for 8 weeks, then twice a month for a year. And her conversion rates are so much better than 99% of other agents. She has done incredibly well with a super high-end, luxury-oriented marketplace in her area. The key is to remember that you've just got to follow up consistently. So it's now having a system, and here's the key. I found unless you have a system in place, you say, this is every lead that I generate, here's what they get. I'm not going to pre-qualify, I'm not going to judge, I'm not going to try and do 27 different plans. And this is where agents get into trouble. They say, well, you know, for this type of lead, wouldn't it be better to do a X type of follow-up plan? And for this type of lead, wouldn't it be better to do this type of follow-up plan? And maybe it would be, but what I found is that the more complicated you make it, the less likely you are to follow up. The simpler you make it, so you have one plan that fits everybody, the more likely you are to actually execute your plan. Does that make sense to you?
Keep it simple, stupid.
That's it. Keep it executable so that now you can do it. And this is actually where I found most agents are really bad, is that they have things to follow up with, but they get busy, and following up is never an exciting activity. And so what I recommend is that you outsource this as soon as you possibly can, whether you have an assistant, a virtual assistant, somebody that you say, here's the leads, I'm gonna give you the leads, you're gonna enter them in my database, and you're gonna execute this follow-up plan to them religiously. And you don't touch it. Because 99% of the time, you will get in your own way. And it will never seem as important to you to execute your follow-up plan. So, questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Where do we go? Obviously, we have to ask you this question before. This 8x8 you've talked a lot about. I think you maybe even emailed me, and I got to ask you again. I buried that email so long. I'm trying to really get my head around this. So, what's the first step here for somebody who doesn't have this?
So there's a variety of things. One, you can go to any 8 pieces that you say, this is my thing, letters, flyers, anything you can use. Now, if you really want to do a customized, branded version of this,
That's really the only thing that you can automate. Is something that's, I mean, you just do it right the first time, put it on autopilot, and be done with it, right?
then it tends to work much more effectively if you do that. So, because now it's like you have all the pieces in place just to execute.
Yeah, and then you can just keep dropping leads in there and make it grow from there, right?
And, and part of that depends upon your budget, what you're trying to do. First Place has a whole bunch of sample marketing materials you can use. Now, to me, the only thing is that those are very first team oriented. I personally like them to be much more agent oriented.
You get graphic artists to put something together. Now, I actually had a graphic artist I worked with, and it seemed like every single time I picked up the damn phone, it was cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Like, I mean, it was every single piece that had to be, if that face had to be put from here to here, it was a $45 charge for design.
So there's a couple ways around that. I mean, one of the things that you can do is if you design your core marketing pieces and you have a set, now you go to places like powercards.com, and that's POWERKARDS.
Say it again.
PowerCards, POWERKARDS.com. And they'll upload your template and let you create custom messages in there, and there's a whole bunch of messages already pre-done.
So if we upload a template that we've already created,
You can upload a template that you've already created, or you can have them create one for you. So that's branded to you. But to me, now it's easy to execute because you can do, and they have a variety of what they call automatic mailing programs.
is it an 8x8 that we would be basically buying?
Yes, basically.
And would it cover, like, if you don't mind me asking, would it cover like the bio sheet, kind of a, is that one of the 8x8s, like your resume?
PowerCards doesn't do resumes like that. They just do primarily cards.
Okay.
But you can add a sheet into it. Those.
All right, we'll take a look at it.
Oh.
Awesome.
But there's all kinds of ways of getting out. And the key is just to say, what is my system? And I'm just going to now automate it. The other thing is make sure that you get them into whatever database you're using and assign them a long-term follow-up drip campaign, so that they are getting dripped on by physical mail, email, they're seeing you. And to me, this is also where add them to your Facebook advertising plan.
So just real quick, make sure you start with the intro letter, then an 8x8, and then a drip campaign. And just leave it at that.
And just now everybody you meet just goes into your system. So it's just a system. It's like they just get constantly dripped. To me, it's like learn from Disney and say, this is the system we put people through. Always consistently the same, and it'll work. Unfortunately, we try and make it much more complicated, or we try and rely too much on our own physical effort.
When you speak by 8x8, is that an actual 8x8 card or is it just a term?
It's just a term.
Got it.
So it's basically an 8x8 is once a week for 8 weeks, where you physically send them something. So the term 8x8 got popularized by Gary Keller in his book,
Millionaire Agent or?
The Millionaire Agent. The 8x8 campaign started when we were doing research trying to figure out how do you build name recognition? And I used to run a company that did huge amounts of direct mail for realtors, and we did all this research trying to figure out why some agents seem to do better than others. And we found that if you send out a high-quality branded card once a week for 8 weeks, at the end of 8 weeks, you roughly had around 60% name recognition. And it was really magical in that the first 4 weeks, you had almost no name recognition. So we'd mail something and then do a phone survey and do a certain sampling of it. And name recognition started declining in week 5. Week 6, 7, and 8 were where you saw the biggest jumps. And to me, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to go from, I really don't know you, to I feel like I've seen you all the time. And that's what takes 8 weeks.
Small price to pay.
Well, it's one of those weird things that we forget about psychologically. If I get something in the mail, and it's great, but I've never heard of you or seen you, I look at it and say, oh, Mary did something, I know Mary trash. A week later, oh, Mary did something, I don't know Mary. About week 3, where have I seen Mary? Week 4, Mary, do I know Mary? I don't know, trash. Week 5, Mary, I've seen her before. Oh, there's Mary again. And it's just that 8 times into your memory. Now it's interesting, if you actually study advertising results, they will tell you that you need to see an ad between 6 and 8 times before it starts to register in your brain. That's television advertising, so there's a little bit different. But to me, it's like, it's all the same thing. It's getting into people's brains.
Yeah.
All right, other questions? Free consulting time.
I know, right? Graphic artists, obviously, what do we have to upload to get this started on powercards.com? How much of our own work do we need to do outside of that website to get it ready to?
So you need a high quality,
A headshot.
8.5 by 5.5 design card. Now you can do a simple, but it should be a print ready PDF.
8.5 by 5.5
Yeah.
card. And when you say have a design,
You should.
what part of it's going to be? We
should
should
have-
talk to you about that design before we get started, or
I mean, you can, or you can design it yourself. I mean, it's.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So on power cards, I think it's, if you just want a card done, I think for like $1,000, they'll design a card for you.
Okay.
And they'll do some basic core branding.
Now, if we want to do that on our own, we can give that card to you.
Yeah.
Where do we get the specifications that we need to design that card?
It's 8.5 by 5.5.
But you have to leave some open text, and it's got to have.
Yeah, so if you go to Power Cards and fill out the little thing, they'll send you the specifications.
Okay, killer.
Okay.
Awesome.
But that's where you start really getting good follow-through. Landing pages that you should start creating. Anybody started to create landing pages? We've been talking about these.
I honestly, Greg, I tried to get into KV Core and I didn't approach it the right way. I needed to clear it out. I can't go back to it the way I needed to delete everything I've done and let me go from scratch. Is there a way you can get in touch with someone that could do that?
I'm probably sure I can.
Okay, good. Other than that, I'm really excited to dive in and figure that thing out. It seems to me like it's the cheapest marketing you can buy right now.
Well, it's to me, it definitely is the cheapest since it's free to you. The only thing that it does take, it's a little bit more complicated than what most agents
Yeah.
are used to. It
That's
takes,
why I couldn't get through. I just tried. I got to like, and then I was like,
No,
uh-oh, I got
it
to
took
switch
them-
gears here.
It took them a month to get it, so I could
Okay.
use it.
All right, good.
So-
I mean, it's one of those things where you've got to. It's a little painful learning in that KV Core does so many different things. Bringing all the pieces together is a little hard for agents because you've got to
Yeah.
almost be thinking about them as you're setting it up and working.
And we could take classes on it,
Okay.
and had tutorials.
Yeah, the more classes you take, the more you play with it, the more effective it will become. And just understand that it is, like any technology, it can be a little challenging to master at the beginning.
Can we teach you that corporate office so we can get the schedule out? He usually has it too.
So instead of boosting, you just run a Facebook ad
Yes,
specific to your SOI, which is a database you uploaded to
See,
Facebook.
I didn't know you could, if you had the addresses of your SOI or farm, that you could,
custom audiences to me are so much more effective in Facebook. Or defining your audience and running a specific ad. When you take a post is rarely as effective as an ad that actually is designed for a specific group and drives you to a landing page. And if you just make a post and you boost it, unless that post is going to a landing page,
Yeah.
the post is usually totally ineffective at actually generating anything. Because it may be go to somebody, but even if they wanted to respond, it's like, where do I go? What do I do? If you just take me to your generic website, I'm confused as a consumer.
I just want to say thank you for sharing today
Yeah.
again. And every day these
Yeah.
classes are
Pretty awesome.
amazing. Tons of very useful info.
just, you take what would be in a 4-hour seminar and you put it in 69 minutes. I'm not kidding, it's awesome.
I just got my homework cut out for me, Rick.
All right.
Yeah,
And I have his past ones like in here too,
cool.
if you
Ooh, I
want
like that.
to go through them. He did that, here's the landing
I
page.
wasn't able to get all of them. Yeah, good.
All right, well, go sell some real estate.
10-4.
Some prospecting.